All right. Welcome back to another edition of the Horsemen Pro Football Talk podcast. This is the final week preview, and I'd like to welcome Hefe back. I'm Brad.
This is Zach.
And I'm Hefe.
It's so weird when we're not all together. It's also so weird that I'm usually the one that travels, and I haven't gone anywhere this year. But that's because I'm dedicated to my fans and our listeners. And I wanted to
wow, throwing us under the bus.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're watching this, please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss an episode. And look, we're coming to the end of the season. We're going to do a lot of playoff stuff here. Then we're going to do some stuff in the off season. The schedule will change a little bit. You won't know when it's coming on. It might be out of sight, out of mind. But if you subscribe and you hit the bell icon, you'll get a notification when we come on and tell you the important things that we want to talk about during the off season. Especially Hefe stays up on trades and that kind of stuff. Not that Zach doesn't or I don't, but a lot of stuff coming through in the off season you might miss. So make sure you subscribe, tell all your friends, and we appreciate the support. All right, so we are coming into the final week. This is where things get really crazy and really screwy. We have teams that are fighting for their lives. There are teams that have to depend on other teams to lose, and they got to win. The other teams got to win. They're in control of their own destiny. There are other teams that don't care. They're going to rest starters. We're going to try to walk down and make sense of what's happening this week. So the first game up, there's no other games except on Sunday and Monday night, right? Is that correct? There's not even a Monday night game.
On the last week of the season, everybody plays on Sunday.
That's right. So all games are on Sunday. The first game up on our agenda is the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs need to win this game. I mean, they don't need to win this game, but I think they've got a lot of things they got to fix. They can't afford, from a mental aspect, to lose to Atlanta in Tampa in the last week heading into the playoffs. I think it does too much damage. I think this is a tune-up game for the playoffs, and the Bucs are probably treating it as a playoff game. I think with everything they have and with what Atlanta isn't, it's pretty safe to say that Tampa should pick this win up.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about which direction the Bucs are going to go this week. To me, I don't see any reason why they would be at full strength. I mean, they do have some kinks they need to work out, but I don't see any reason why they would be full strength the entire game. They've already clinched their playoff spot. They can't really move any higher. I think they'll secure the number 5 spot. But whether you're 5 or 6, it doesn't really matter too much, in my opinion there. I think Atlanta's going to come in a little bit motivated. So if Tampa Bay is not at full strength the entire game, I think that the Falcons will try to end their 2020 campaign on a good note. The Bucs are favored by 6, but I'm going to go with Atlanta on this one.
Yeah, I wish I could be that confident, but the Bucs all year have beat up on bad teams. They're 1-5 against teams with a winning record. Aaron Rodgers had to have arguably the worst day of his career for them to get that one win against the winning team. Right, 2 pick sixes. Aaron Rodgers only has like 5 his entire career. So there's just no faith here that Atlanta can keep up with the Bucs. Maybe in the first half again. A couple weeks ago they got up in the first half, but just like the Chargers, Atlanta doesn't know how to keep a lead. So even if they get up in this game, I would suspect that the Bucs find a way to come back and win.
Yeah, so we're all three in agreement with the Bucs. And Zach, I just want to point out, I mean, you make some excellent points, but I'd like to also point out whoever finishes 5th gets to play the NFC East. Finishing 6th changes the complexity of your first round, and the Bucs need all the help they can get while they work out the kinks. I would expect them to really shoot to take that spot. So next up is this is one of these emotional ones, Hefe. I'm struggling. It's the Dolphins at the Bills. Bills look damn good. They look real good. This is a big game. For everything the Dolphins are, and we've talked at great length about Tua. Zach and I talked at great length the other day about what kind of dynamics they have at quarterback. Is Tua going to start and then be ready to go out? Fitzpatrick comes in. Is Tua okay with that? Zach brought up the point that Tua was celebrating with Fitzpatrick when he came in the other day and was successful. which is cool if they have that kind of dynamic. If the locker room's on board, that may be cool. I still don't think, especially on the road in Buffalo with the way Buffalo's playing, I don't think Miami has enough to beat Buffalo this week.
Yeah, it appears that Buffalo, who have already clinched the AFC East, will fight for the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs and attempt to spoil the Miami Dolphins playoff hopes. If Buffalo is full go all game long, I think they'll cover this 1.5-point spread easily. Well, I wouldn't say easily because Miami's a pretty good team with a pretty good defense, but I think Buffalo will cover.
No, I think you're right before. Miami's got a decent team, but the Bills are on another level right now. Them and the Chiefs, I mean, I wish that could be the Super Bowl. I think those are the best 2 teams in the league, and I don't think it's really particularly close right now. So, as long as the Bills are playing the starters, this one really shouldn't be much of a contest. I like the Dolphins. I like a lot of people they have, but starting Tua, we've talked about all year. Starting Tua is going to be an issue when you play a better, more experienced team, and the Bills are the bigger, better team, and not playing Fitz in this one is going to be an issue. And when Tua gets you in a hole, this isn't a game where you put Fitz in and he's able to make magic, because this Bills defense has been better since some guys were able to get healthy. So, you can't rely on that magic happening. So, there's really nothing here that says Miami has a chance. I got to go with the Bills.
Yeah, you both bring up some great points. The first one, Hefe, to your point, can you imagine being down 21 points to the Peyton Manning Colts? There's no way you could have come back from that, because every time you put points on the board, they're going to do the same thing. And this Bills offense, I mean, I don't want to say it's that proficient, that good, but they're pretty deadly. And being on the road in Buffalo and getting down on the road, I think you're absolutely right. That's a hole that they won't be able to dig themselves out of. If they were Miami, things go their way, maybe it's a different story. But I think on the road is just too much to have all that stacked against them. And Zach, you brought up a very good point that I didn't think about, and that is smashing the Miami Dolphins playoff hopes. And this comes into culture, this comes into momentum, and the things that we've talked about. That Flores has done a really good job with this organization. And anybody who knows football knows what Flores has done. They are solid moving into the future. Miami they are a contender for the future. Things could always go backwards. We could eat our words next year, but I don't see that happen in this organization. And so with the Bills' emergence as a front runner and Miami sitting on their heels and Flores making the mistake of moving to Tua too early, this could have been, could have been the AFC's championship had he not jumped the gun with Tua. And I know you both agree with me on that. I'll defend that till the day I die. Buffalo knows this. They know that this isn't an anomaly just this year, that over the next couple of years, both these teams are going to fight for this championship. And you don't want the other team to have more confidence in you. And I think kicking the Dolphins while they're down and pushing them back down out of the playoffs is a huge moral victory, a huge win in that department. What do I want to say? Psychological department. I think that's a great point. It really is a great point, because this is a brewing modern rivalry. They've got history, but this is a neo rivalry brewing, and they're certainly going to want to take care of business. So, yeah, but we're all three taking the Bills.
Yep.
All right, next up, Ravens at Bengals, interdivision game. And the Bengals are just one of those teams that they'll just come in and I don't know. By all rights, everything we say here should say the Ravens are going to win this game. I'm going to pick the Ravens. I think the Ravens are getting better. I think they're finally starting to get things turned around, and hopefully enough to make this a strong postseason run for them, or at least competitive. But I wouldn't be surprised if we come back on Monday and the Bengals won this game. I wouldn't be surprised with the way things are going.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I just don't see it happening. Baltimore's back in the playoff picture with the way they've been playing the last few weeks. I think they're going to thrash the Bengals in Cincinnati. They're favored by 11.5. I have them exceeding that spread easily.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a game where you see the Ravens have, two running backs that go for 70 or 80 yards. Lamar Jackson adds another 60, 70 yards on the ground. I think they're just going to come in, be the aggressor in this game. They have a lot of guys on this team that have some playoff experience, and I think they'll be able to use that to come up big in a big moment here. Hopefully Hollywood Brown isn't dropping a bunch of passes, but I don't think they're going to rely much on the pass here, especially in an outdoor game, cold weather kind of game. I think they're going to run it down the Bengals' throat, and I don't think this one's going to be particularly close. I'm going with the Ravens.
All right, we were all three picking the Ravens. Next up is the Steelers at the Browns. This is another one, interdivision game. By all rights, the Browns appear at this point to be a better team. I think, and Hefe, you missed it. You really missed it. We went off about the Steelers-Colts game and the bullshit officiating that got in the middle of it. And I mean, we didn't say there was a conspiracy or anything like that. There were just an excessive amount of untimely calls that I think disrupted the flow of the game and changed the direction of it. Water under the bridge, neither here nor there. Steelers shouldn't have beat the Colts. The Browns have beaten the Colts. They're in Cleveland, interdivision game. I mean, does Pittsburgh? Does anybody know? I haven't read. Are they resting starters? Or are they taking this one seriously?
Yeah, Roethlisberger's out. I'm pretty sure they're going to arrest some more people.
Oh, well, there you have it. It's kind of a no-brainer, in my opinion, to take the Browns in.
Yep, huge game for Cleveland after embarrassing loss. What was the last week to the New York Jets? They're in a must-win situation to clinch their playoff spot. Like we said, it appears Pittsburgh's packing it in for the week. They're going to give their starters some rest. Big Ben's out. Cleveland's favored by 7. I think they'll get the job done and cover.
Yeah, if the starters were going to play for the Steelers here, then I'd have more confidence, obviously, right? But the Browns are getting a bunch of their starters back this week. They were missing a bunch of receivers, so they get those guys back. They get the defensive guys back that were on the COVID list, and I don't think this one should be very close. I don't know what defensive starters are going to be out for the Steelers, but just with Mason Rudolph playing the game for the Steelers, I don't think Mason Rudolph can pull it out for a win. So I got to go with the Browns here.
Okay, we're all three going with the Browns on that one. By all rights, this would be what should have been the fourth Steeler loss in a row. Yeah, so put things in perspective. All right, next up, the Cowboys at the Giants. I was going to try to give you this Cowboys must-win kind of thing, but I can't do that with a straight face because I don't even know that the Cowboys know what that means or how to make that happen. I think they play their game and they win, they get lucky. I got no faith that it has any bearing on anything other than they are in the fight for the NFC East. And they're tied with Washington at 6-9. Yeah, Washington's playing the Eagles. So I don't know who's got the better edge there. So the NFC is going to come down to the last game. I have to take the Cowboys with this. And this is, I'm doing it under protest.
Yeah, the Cowboys are one of the worst teams in the league halfway through the season, but they've really turned it on as of late. If Washington loses their game, the winner of this game will take the NFC East divisional title. Dallas is favored by 2.5. Should be a good one, and I'm riding with the Cowboys here.
Yeah, I'm going to be riding with the Cowboys too. Andy Dalton over the last couple of weeks seems to have remembered how to play the quarterback position. CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup are playing really, really well. Obviously, you have Mario Cooper doing his thing. But something that was big was Zeke. Didn't have, a huge Zeke kind of game this past week, but look, more like the Zeke we remember. There looked like there was more explosion there. So hopefully he's getting right, and I think they'll be able to win this game. I don't know. Obviously they're going to need Washington to lose if they have any chance of making it in. But I do think that going into the playoffs, this is a team that could make some noise. They have some explosive ability. So I think they'll be able to take care of the Giants, but we'll see if they can make it in.
Okay. In a rare turn of celestial events, 3 of us are taking the Cowboys.
Yeah, first time all season.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not because of anything we're doing. It's just they haven't given us any reason to all three agree on that. But we're all three taking the Cowboys. Next up is the Vikings at the Lions. For everything the Lions are not, or the Vikings are not, I should say. The Lions are even less. I don't care that they're on the road. The Lions are down and out, man. They got a lot of problems. I think the Vikings should pick this one up in a game that means absolutely nothing to anyone.
Yep. No Kenny Galladay, no Matt Stafford for the Lions. No chance here. Although Minnesota will be missing Dalvin Cook due to his father passing away, I expect Minnesota to easily handle business here. They're favored by 6.5. I have them covering the spread.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to cover that spread too. There's no confidence in Chase Daniel or David Blau to come in and save the day for the Lions, right? Especially without Kenny Galladay. Maybe if Kenny Galladay was there. But the Vikings, Alexander Madison has been a fine backup for Dalvin Cook. He'll probably have a decent game here. The Vikings obviously have the passing weapons, so really no chance here for the Lions. Unfortunate for them. This is probably going to be Matthew Stafford's last game as a Lion, and he's not even playing in it. But good riddance. Hopefully he goes somewhere and wins after this season.
Indianapolis.
I would take it.
Yeah, we're all three taking the Vikings on that one. Okay, next up, the Jets at the Patriots. Now, this one, as much as I hate to say this may not be as cut and dry as it looks.
Say that again?
This may not be as cut and dry as it looks. The Jets have figured something out. It appears to be defensively. New England appears to just be getting worse. So much so that, did you guys see Beelzebub's meltdown?
No, I didn't. On the phone on the sideline thing?
Yeah. Now, for a fiery coach like Chucky, that's not a big deal. But for a guy like Beelzebub, for Belichick to have a public display of emotion like he did, Zach, he was on the phone and he got pissed off and he threw it. I mean, just threw a fit and threw it down.
Yeah, because it was over a challenge. It wasn't the challenge was stupid. It was obvious that the Patriots were going to lose it. So, I'm sure when he saw it on the jumbotron and saw an angle of it, he was like, "Okay, why did this dude tell me?" And he went over on the phone, and I'm assuming said some stuff that we only wish we could hear.
Yeah, for sure. But from a psychological point, that's indicative of the mounting frustration, right? I mean, he would be pissed about that anyway, but he would chew their ass on Monday in the office. But it broke through his barrier, and he's got the tightest barrier of any coach I've ever seen in my entire life, and it spilled through. It shows what's happening. We can speculate all we want. We got plenty of time in the offseason, whether he's going to come back, how long he's going to stay, is the game passing by. But for right now, I think he has lost control, and he knows he's lost control, and he doesn't know how to fix it. And that's why he's frustrated enough to throw a tantrum on the sideline. The Jets could steal this one. I'm taking the Patriots because they're at home, and the old man deserves their respect. But the Jets could steal this one. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they've won, 2 in a row now, the Jets?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, I don't expect that streak to continue. I think Belichick can pull it together for the final game of 2020. New England's favored by 5, and because they're at home, I will also go with the Patriots here.
I feel like I should go with the Patriots, but they still haven't labeled who the starter's going to be this week. And not that I think that would matter a whole lot, but obviously Cam can do more. He can use his legs to get first downs, extend drives, whereas Jarrett Stidham's just relying on his arm, right? And Jarrett Stidham, everybody's like, "Oh, play Jarrett Stidham so you know what you have with him." Like, they've played him enough. He just sucks. Like, every time he comes in, he sucks. They know what they have. They have a sucky backup quarterback. So they're probably going to play him. From what it sounds like, it's nothing definitive, but I think they're going to play him. And the Jets' defense has been better. So I'm going to go with the Jets here to get a third win and somehow finish the season 3-13.
Right. Jeff has joined He's banded together with the delusional Jets fans, and I thought about going with him. I'm just going on record. I thought about going over to that side of the stadium with him, but I can't do it. But it'll be interesting to see. So Zach and I are taking the page.
I'm also down like 8 games to Zach right now, so
trying to make up
gotta
ground.
shake it up a little bit.
So Zach's taking the Patriots. Hefe's taking the Jets. I'm taking the Patriots, but I'm kind of in the middle. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if the Jets win this game. I'm not going to be surprised if they lose either. So take that for what it's worth. All right, and I can't wait to talk about the Patriots. Jeff, we're not done talking about the Patriots. We're going to talk about them in the offseason. We got a lot to talk about. I'm looking forward to it. I know you are too. All right, next up is the Packers at the Bears. This is an interdivision game. It's an old rivalry. It's on the road in Chicago, which is only like an hour away, 90 minutes away or whatever. And the Bears aren't what they were at 5-0. Not that they ever were that. So I'm not saying the Packers are going to struggle, but I'm saying this isn't as easy of a win, despite what's happening as people think it's going to be. But I fully expect Green Bay to go in, and I don't know if they'll dominate, but control this game and get a win, and they should. If they don't, then Zach's going to have to come on here on Monday and admit he was wrong. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, so you're assuming I'm just going to take the Packers?
No, are you not taking the Packers?
No, I'm taking the Packers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Green Bay has clinched the NFC North, but they do not have the number 1 seed locked up yet in the NFC. They can also play spoiler to the red-hot Chicago Bears and knock them out of playoff contention. The Packers are favored by 5.5, with Aaron Rodgers playing like a league MVP with a solid run game that has been proven over the last few weeks. I think they'll head into Chicago and come out with a spread victory, clinching the number 1 NFC seed and making my preseason prediction correct.
By all stretches of the imagination, it seems like the Packers should be the obvious choice here, right? Aaron Rodgers, the front runner for MVP right now. But look, man, the Bears have scored 40 plus in 4 straight games. Ever since Nagy gave over play calling duties, it's been a completely different team. And so I think this is the game of the week. Out of all these division games, I think this is the one that I'm probably most excited to watch. I think this is going to be the best game of the weekend. It's going to be a grimy game in Soldier Field between the oldest and probably best rivalry in all of sports. And so, I'm excited to watch it. And I feel like the Bears are going to win at home. I don't know why, but I feel like that's going to be the storyline. It could be a conspiracy thing. The Bears started so well, and then they did so bad and somehow get in because the Cardinals somehow ruined their own chances by losing the last couple games, and the Bears win. I don't know how it's going to happen, but this just feels like the Bears win, even though, I think that Aaron Rodgers probably needs to win this game to secure the MVP. But either way, I just have a feeling the Bears win this game.
All right. So is that your final answer?
That's what I'm going with.
All right. Bears get the upset on Sunday. We're going to have a Horseman showdown on this show on Monday.
Okay, Corral.
Zach and I are taking the Packers. Jeff's taking the Bears. But asterisk here, Jeff is down like 9, and he's trying to make up ground. And he made that clear a minute ago when he took the Jets. But I do think you're onto something. I do think this could be an upset.
Yeah, even though I need to come back, the 2 picks, the Jets and the Bears, I do actually think that they have a good chance of winning the games.
Okay, fair enough. All right, next up is the Raiders at the Broncos. That whole, if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one there to hear, does it make a sound? These 2 teams playing, and does anybody really care? They're on the road at Denver, interdivision game. The Raiders have struggled as of late. Broncos got nothing to lose. I really don't know what's going to happen with this game. I'm going to take the home team just because.
All right. Well, Las Vegas has had some troubling times over the last few weeks, and although they're the underdog by 1.5 points, I think they'll turn this one around and get a victory at Mile High.
I just think whatever's going on with the Raiders, the last game of the season, there's nothing to play for them. So I think they're going to come in here flat in the Mile High, and I think somehow, some way, the Broncos are able to beat them. I don't know how they'll do it, but the way the Raiders are going, it just feels like they can't get themselves out of this rut. A couple weeks ago, John Gruden said, we just have to worry about getting our 8th win of the season. And I feel like once you got into that mindset, once it was just we need to get to 8 wins rather than we need to get a wild card spot, and that started this spiral that they're in. You can't put your team into that mind space. I don't think they get out of it here. I think Denver ends the season on a win.
Did you say MySpace?
Tom?
Talking about Tom and MySpace? Yeah. So you're taking the Broncos, Hefe?
Yep, going with the Broncos.
Yep. Hefe and I are taking the Broncos. Zach's going with the Raiders.
All right. From here on out, I'm taking everything Jeff is taking. I'm not letting them catch up.
Wait, you're going, but you pick before he does. I don't know how it's going to work.
Dang,
you have to invoke your
right.
ESP.
I have to switch them last second. Nobody's looking.
All right. Next up is the Tennessee Titans at the Houston Texans. By all rights, Tennessee should win this game. This is on the road. It is on the road. It is in Houston. But Houston is really struggling. Now it'd be curious to see what happens with this J.J. Watt temper tantrum. He's on dangerous ground. He's the leader of the locker room. There's no doubt about that. But his better years are behind them. And one of two things could happen. Those guys could fall in line behind the veteran, or they could just tell him to piss off, and the locker room can completely disintegrate out from underneath him. It'd be interesting to see how that happens. Either way, I'm not sure it's going to have a whole lot of effect on this game. Tennessee should be too much, unfortunately, and should win this game. I hope they don't for the Colts playoff opportunities, but I think they're going to.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that J.J. Watt's criticism last weekend resonates and motivates this Houston Texans club. But I think with the AFC South division on the line, the Tennessee Titans will show up to play. Favored by 7.5 points, I have the Titans winning this game, but I do think it'll be closer than what the spread indicates.
Yeah, I like that you guys brought up the J.J. Watt thing, because I do think that's going to be a big deal. I think that he's the kind of guy doing that is only going to motivate the people around him. I don't think anybody in that locker room or anybody in the league is going to look at JJ and think, oh, screw that guy. He's got a lot of respect. And I would love to see the Texans be able to beat the Titans here. But like Zach said, with so much on the line here, the AFC South title, and if they lose, if the Titans lose this game and 4 other teams win, the Titans are out of the playoffs, right? They have to win this game. I think they give the ball to Derrick Henry a lot. They use that play action a lot. Do what they do best and come out with the win.
So all 3 of us are taking the Titans, and all 3 of us are hoping that the Texans win. For any of you listening who or watching who didn't watch haven't watched our Monday episode, first of all, shame on you. But we'll let it slide this time. But the playoff picture for the AFC is from the 4th spot back. There are 5, the 4 playoff spots, the last 4 playoff spots, which includes the AFC South division winner. There are 5 teams: the Titans, the Dolphins, the Ravens, the Browns, and the Colts, and they're all at 10-5. If all 5 win, the Colts are out. Any one of those loses, they're out. So the AFC race is exciting, really exciting for that reason, because there are 5 teams that have to win. And that's what Hefe and Zach alluded to as we were talking about this game, with the Titans need to win. So if Titans lose, they lose AFC South championship and they're out. It'd be a double whammy for them, and we're all hoping for it. All right, next up is the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Indianapolis Colts. And look, this is in Indianapolis, and we wouldn't even be, Zach and I talked about this the other day while you're in Indianapolis, ironically. We wouldn't even be having this conversation if the Colts didn't lose to the Jags in week 1 again, the league should never put a division game in week one. I don't know who the hell's bright idea that was. It should never happen for this reason. It was a fluke. They weren't prepared, especially with no preseason. They lost a game to a team that they shouldn't have lost to, because nobody should lose to the Jags all year long. The Colts have to win to get in the playoffs. And at that point, if I don't know, maybe I'm petty, but I would want to prove to the Jags and my players and everyone else as we come in the playoffs that week one was a fluke. And I do everything I could to just kick the shit out of Jacksonville. And I hope that's what happens.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like you said, Indianapolis needs a win and a little bit of help to make it into the playoffs. Not a position you want to be in, which we've discussed over the last few weeks. It'll be very unfortunate if the Colts don't make the playoffs, because I really believe that they're capable of winning it all. Fortunately, they'll have that little bit of extra motivation this week to avenge their week one haunting loss to the Jags, just like you talked about. Colts are favored by 13.5. I think they run away and completely blow out the Jags this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty safe to say that, the Colts are going to come in and be angry. They're looking for revenge. But, they just need to stay focused on the game. They're not showing the scores of any of the other games in the stadium while they're playing. They're just worried about Jacksonville. So they should come in and handle their work, right? We're at the end of the season instead of the beginning. This team is a lot different than it was week one. But Anthony Costanzo is having season-ending ankle surgery. So, unfortunately, I don't even, at this point, don't really care if the Colts make it in. We're not winning without AC if we're playing a good team. So, good for the Colts. They might make it in the dance, but they won't go far.
Sounds like something a Michigan fan would say.
I'm just sitting here trying to make sure everything's okay. That doesn't sound like the FA I know.
Yeah, the Steelers game really pissed me off. Really.
Yeah.
I've stayed away from pretty much all things Colts this week. So shit pissed me off.
Yeah, for sure. All right. But you are taking the Colts this week.
Yep.
All right. We're all three in agreement there. And are we all in agreement it should be a big win?
I think so.
Yeah. I've said that before over the last 2 decades, and then and then all of a sudden Jacksonville gets 250 yards rushing against the Colts. I've seen that happen way more than I needed to in my lifetime.
By the way, James Robinson not playing in this game, so we don't have to worry about the running game.
There you go. You heard it from the guru. All right, next up, Chargers at Chiefs. Are the Chiefs resting anybody?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody?
Pretty much.
It still won't be enough, will it?
I don't know.
Chargers have won 3 in a row.
That they have.
You think they'll beat Kansas City?
Without the starters, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're both picking them.
The Chargers are. Yeah, the Chargers are actually the favorites to win this game.
Yeah, and so you're both picking them.
I am. Yep.
Yep, picking Anthony Lynn to somehow get to 7 wins and somehow save his job.
Yep, I'm not. I'm taking the Chiefs. Is there anything you guys want to add to this before we close this one out? Because that's all I got to say about it.
No, I think that with everybody sitting for the Chiefs, they have nothing to play for. They're going to have 2 weeks, basically 2 weeks rest. I mean, the starters are going to start just to say they started. So who knows? It could go down and score a touchdown and be able to keep it close. But ultimately, I think with the way the Chargers have been playing the last few weeks, that with all the Chiefs starters out early, I think they'll be able to pull it out.
Yeah, I mean, any game in the NFL when you're talking about second string going against first string, 9.9 times out of 10, the first stringers are going to win the game. That's why they're there. That's why they're making the money. By all means, the Chargers should win this game.
All right. I'm taking the Chiefs. They're taking the Chargers. That's all I got to say about that.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
All right. Cardinals at the Rams. This is bullshit that I even got to pick one of these teams. I'm so tired. This division has been like this entire season, but the whole division itself has been like this entire season. It's just gone up and down and up and down. You got individual teams that go the Browns up and down, and you don't know who to pick. But this whole division just frustrates me to no end. the Rams should win this game, but they should have won the last couple games. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. So, but they're in LA. Arizona's making the 6-hour drive or whatever over to the coast, and I don't see Arizona beating them. Rams got to win, right?
Both teams have to win, but Jared Goff is not playing.
Oh,
just grab a coin, flip it, make a call.
That's exactly right. It was almost that way before you told me Goff wasn't playing. I forgot that he dislocated his thumb. Hefe, did you see him pop his thumb back in?
Sure did.
Yeah. That's grown man shit right there. And Aikman was talking about that. I don't know if you heard Aikman talk about it, that it really affects the grip of the ball. And anyway, man, I don't know who I'm taking. I mean, both teams got to win. It's the Seahawks probably going to wrap up the division anyway, but this is a wild card spot. I wish, like the Cowboys, I wish I could say, well, the Rams, no, they got to win, but I don't know. I'll flip a coin tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a huge game for both teams. Both are still fighting to clinch their NFC playoff spots. Ultimately, I think the Rams are still the better team despite their recent struggles. But the Cardinals have also had their recent struggles as well. But not having Jared Goff in there for the Rams will make a huge difference in this game. The Cardinals are only favored by a point, so it could go either way still. I kind of feel the same way as you, but I'm going to roll with Arizona here.
If Jared Goff was playing in this game, I'd pick the Rams probably 10 times out of 10. With what we've seen from the Cardinals, there's not a whole lot of faith to be had there. But without Jared Goff, I don't even know who the backup there is. It's not going to matter. Kyler Murray is going to be able to make just enough plays. This is going to be a low-scoring game. I'd love to take the under for this game, whatever it is. But I think that with the Rams losing, as long as my predictions are right, the Bears will win and the Cardinals will win. And just like that, you have the Bears and Cardinals in the playoffs, and the Rams are going to be on the outside looking in. They'll be going home after they lose to the Cardinals.
All right. You heard it here first. The Rams are going to be sitting in January, and the Bears and the Cardinals are in, according to Hefe. So
to answer your question that you didn't specifically ask, the starting quarterback will be John Wolford from Wake Forest.
Well, there you go.
He is a rookie.
John Wolford. Does that change your pick?
No, not a Wake Forest quarterback, no.
Guess who's backing him up? Blake Bortles. Watch out.
See, they're only one injury away from firing the machine, the offensive machine up, letting Bortles get back in there. Saints at the Panthers is the next game up. So the Saints are in danger of losing their spot, moving from second to third. They're not in danger of losing the division. They are in danger of slipping, which determines who they play at this point, which would obviously be the Rams, the Bears, or the Cardinals. There's no way to know who that is, so I don't know that it matters. Are the Saints resting starters? I haven't looked.
I don't believe so. I was checking to see if Breeze was going to play. It appears that he is.
Okay. Well, then anybody out there that's thinking about taking the Panthers, including the 2.3% on the ESPN pick'em, you're about as delusional as the Jets fans. If the Saints are full strength, then I expect them to do what the Saints do, and that's win.
Yeah, I would assume they're going to be. They're still in contention for the number one NFC spot. I think if they win, Green Bay loses, and Seattle wins, then the Saints will move into number one. So they still have a lot to play for this week. And it all starts by taking care of the Carolina Panthers. I don't see this train slowing down, especially right now. Saints are favored by 5. I have them covering.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to cover here too. I was hoping the Saints were going to rest their starters because I'm going up against Alvin Kamara in my fantasy championships, and he just lit me up with 58 points, I think it was last week. So I hope the starters get pulled from this game at like halftime. I'm hoping the Saints are able to get up by like 4 or 5 touchdowns by half, but I think there's a good chance of that happening. The Panthers have been just bad on defense. The pass defense isn't the worst, but they can't stop the run. Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray should have big games here. The Saints should have no problem winning this game. Unfortunately for them, I don't know if they'll be able to snag that number one. But if my predictions are right, the Saints should be the number one seed.
All right, we're all three taking New Orleans, and Jeff, you're calling for. I mean, I forgot you called for the Bears to beat the Packers, so you're pretty bold today, man.
A lot of bold strategies, Cotton.
There's a lot of bold strategies, Cotton. Okay. All right. So next game up is Seattle Seahawks at the 49ers. So here's what I have to say about this. They're on the road in San Francisco. San Francisco is just, their whole year has just been one mess after another, and a lot of it not their fault. But even when they had chances to do things, but injuries are just destroying them. But they would love nothing more than to spoil Seattle's party. So here's what I have to say about this. I'm still not convinced that the Seahawks are legit. This will persuade me a little bit. I mean, going on the road, interdivision game, coming into the end, even if it is just the 49ers at 6-9, there's still a lot to this game that tells me if they come in here and they take care of their business, then they're a contender in the offseason. Do I think they're up there with the Packers and the Saints? Absolutely not. But I'm still not sure that they deserve to be in the playoffs either. So I'm going to be watching to see what they do, and they'll somewhat convince me this weekend if they can come in here and take care of business. But I'm picking them anyway.
Yeah, they've the Seahawks have definitely stepped it up in recent weeks. Came back, secured the hotly contested NFC West last week against the Los Angeles Rams. They can still secure the number one NFC seed as well. That'll take a win plus a New Orleans and Green Bay loss, and they could still slide in there to the number one spot and get that first round bye. So I expect them to come out firing, let Russ cook and do his thing. They're favored by 4.5. I think they're going to cover the spread.
Yeah, I think they probably will too. It might get a little close, but I really like what the Seahawks have been able to do on defense. If you look at the offense, it's not what it was the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season, but the offense from rushing and passing standpoint is kind of what we're used to seeing with the Seahawks. They don't turn the ball over a whole lot. They don't have a whole lot of explosiveness, but they're really efficient. That's just generally what the Russell Wilson Seahawks offense is, just efficient. And they've gotten back to being efficient. They're, you'd like to see more big plays to DK down the field, but that hasn't been the recipe of late. And the defense is playing so much better. They've been able to get so much pressure over the last few weeks, and I think they're going to be able to throw off whoever the Niners decide to throw out, probably, C.J. Beathard, if I had to guess. I think this one's going to be pretty easy for the Seahawks, like Zach said, taking them to cover here.
Okay, we were all three taking the Seahawks. And final game of the night is a Sunday night game. Who in the hell put the NFC East teams on the last game of the season, and you got NFC East teams playing? And arguably the worst NFC East season ever in the history of the National Football League, and they're the final game of the 2020 season. It's actually kind of fitting, if you ask me, to have this garbage-ass dumpster fire on there. This is pure and simple. They're both trash teams. Washington's getting better. I know they just got rid of Haskins, so I don't know what that does for them. I'd like you guys to discuss that a little bit, see what you think about it. Washington has to win this. If they win this, they control. The only beauty about this game and the Washington football team being in the NFC East is that Washington controls their own destiny. If they win, they're in. Whether they should be or not, they win, they're in. So there's your excitement for Sunday night, folks.
Yeah, what's crazy is that the NFL actually moved this game to Sunday night. I'm reading it right now. Yeah, this past week, the NFL made the move, and I don't remember who they replaced.
Seattle Niners was supposed to be the night game.
I see. So, yeah, the NFL ended up making this move this week. I could think of probably 6 or 7 better games to throw in there, but
yeah, I understand taking the Seahawks-Niners game out because Seahawks are in. Niners got nothing to win. I get there's a little more it's a little more dramatic with Washington. But you got the Colts, you got the Browns, you got the Packers and the Bears. I think everybody in the country would watch the Packers and the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but it is what it is.
Not at all. But as you said, during the week, Washington eliminated one of their biggest distractions in the organization when they released Dwayne Haskins. Alex Smith is ready to step back in from victory as their starting quarterback. It's good timing because if they have any shot at winning this game and securing the NFC East, they need Alex Smith to perform well. The question is, will he do it? Philadelphia has looked a lot better since Jalen Hurts took over the starting quarterback role, but this Washington defense is still one of the best in the league, especially their front four. Should be a very interesting game. Philly's favored by 1.5, but I'm going to go with Washington to take this one in the end and win one of the worst divisions we have ever seen.
Yeah, this is a game where I think Jalen Hurts, I've mentioned in the last couple of weeks that even with what Jalen Hurts is doing, I'm just not that confident in him, because I know what I see. Just because somebody's putting up numbers doesn't mean they're necessarily playing well. And that's hard to describe to people, but Jalen Hurts is going to make rookie mistakes. This is a really, really good pass defense. They're good at stopping the run. Not that we expect Miles Sanders to do a whole lot, but they do a good job of containing quarterbacks. Mobile quarterbacks don't feast on this defense like they do other defenses. Chase Young will run Jalen Hurts down all day long. Ryan Kerrigan will run him down all day long. They have the athleticism up front to stay with Jalen Hurts. So the scrambling ability isn't going to do as much in this game. So Washington, like Zach said, Alex Smith coming back helps the offense. I'm going to want to keep an eye on whether or not Terry McLaurin plays in this game. He didn't play this past week, but I think he's going to be back for Week 17 here. Antonio Gibson should have a good game here. But either way, I just think the Washington defense is going to do enough in this game. Get a couple turnovers, maybe a touchdown off of one of them. But I think the Washington defense sets the tone and wins the game for them this week.
Okay. We're all three taking Washington. Well, the only thing I have to say about what Hefe said is that Dwayne Haskins, the Indianapolis Colts, you heard it here first.
Absolutely not.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't see that happening. It'd be interesting to see where he goes, though. But, he's kind of damaged goods. So, all right. Anything else you guys want to say before we go?
Yeah. What are you wearing, Hefe? Let's see that bad boy.
Yeah, so this is a shirt that was made for me for Christmas. Has the Horsemen Pro Football Talk on it. Has my name, Hefe, right here on top, on the back, like a football jersey.
That's pretty sharp. I like that.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Let's get me one of those.
See if we can get Willie on the west side to hook it up a little bit.
Yeah. Speaking of Willie on the west side, he's currently in second place on the Pigskin Pick'em.
How far am I ahead?
You are 4 ahead. Hefe is 3 behind. I'm technically 10 behind him, but if you add in the 10 I would have had, but woulda, coulda, shoulda, and didn't. So Zach is at 163, and Will in the west side is at 159. Hefe is at 156, and I'm at 149 plus 10.
Well, so we'll see how this goes. Jeff, you picked 4 or 5 different this episode, didn't you?
Yeah, I think you and I have like 5 different ones. Yeah, 4 or 5.
Just trying to make it up.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
we're going to go 6-0 one of these weeks.
Yep. All right, that does it for this week. Our last regular season week of our first season of football. Man, what a weird ride! What a weird time to start this in 2020. What a weird time to start anything in 2020. But we're going to keep with us through the playoffs and then come back in the offseason. We'll have a little different schedule, but we'll talk about some offseason things, including and especially the Patriots. I just had to throw that out there for Hefe. If you've been paying attention. We want to remind you to show us some love, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you're on board heading into the off season. So when the schedule changes up, that you're getting alerts, so you don't have to stay on top of it. You'll just get an alert when we got something new pop up. And be sure to tell all your friends, please. We're going to try up our game a little bit for the 2021 season for next year. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned. And of course, we will see you back here again on Tuesday, where we will review this week's games from the weekend, and we'll talk about the upcoming playoff picture for next week. We got some special guests coming up in the next couple weeks. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned. Until then, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the games. Deuces.